What's happening, family? It's your man, CRB Jr.
Al Prophet, American Dope. Now, before we get into today's topics, there's a story, brief little quick interlude from our trip to New York that I got to tell you guys. So I know there's a certain contingent of YouTube trolls that look, Courtney and Cavario ain't never did nothing, they lying. So
They're not far off. I mean, 100, 200, 300 bricks. I mean, who's to say?
they do, yeah.
It's a little hobby hustling.
So we were just in New York, and Cavario took us to meet Branson. Unfortunately, they got
Shout out to the OG. Shout out to the OG
so we're
Branson.
driving down, what we're driving, 8th Avenue?
We're going towards the highway now, 116.
We're on 116th, and a guy yells out, Cavario, where are you? Cavario hits him. And then I see Courtney looking he looked kind of funny, and he's like, is that, I ain't gonna say his name, is that such and such? And Cavario was like, yeah, that's such and such, you know him?
JM, we'll say.
And Courtney, who had in the early 90s, his father had him out in New York doing some work for the family, but Courtney also had a store on 125th Street directly across the street from the Apollo and the 125 Mart. You were like the first person uptown with Coogie's.
Correct.
Then we get into these stories. I won't stretch it out. The point of it is this JM character. Because remember, that whole leaning on people, extortion, if you haven't experienced someone trying to extort you, you haven't been in a higher level of the game, right? If people just know you make $5,000 a week, they don't bother you. But when you seem like some real money's passing through your hands, so this guy, JM, who had a reputation and was part of a
Come to find out.
feared crew in Harlem at the time, and Harlem was very dangerous then. And he's like, what did he tell you?
Well, he started just coming by, being nice.
Being friendly, making friends.
Making friends, shaking hands, yada, yada, yada.
Feeling you out.
Filling me out.
And you're nice. If someone wants to be friendly and nice to you, you are.
And I'm in.
You act regular.
And it's an away game, so I'm not trying to
and
be.
You're not somebody who feels the need to tell, so you know who I am and all that.
None of that.
Yeah.
None of that. There was a little rumor that his daddy's somebody in Detroit because this young kid and set up this
But
shop.
you didn't play it up.
At all, and I dressed like a college kid, and so anyway, let's go to KFC. Fine, get to KFC. Oh man, I ain't got no money. No biggie, I got it.
Oh, he started you with KFC.
Like real simple shit.
$20.
$20 shit. Then it was 2 weeks later. Man, I need $80 to go shoot a move real quick. That was always something. I'm still, to be honest.
Because you used to give them, but you get money.
People niggas been begging.
Yeah.
He get
Yeah, $89.
here, buy, you know, and everybody knew him up there. Now they didn't give me the MO that Cavario filled me in that he had been associated with this crew that was known for violence.
Who was in the news? I looked him up. There was an old newspaper article. They had a map of all the dangerous gangs in Harlem circa 90, and they was on the list. They had a little boundary. It was over there at 116. It was right there.
So then it went to 80. I'm still clueless. I'm not even got a bad vibe. My roommate, shout out to LB, wherever the hell you are, he was the first one to say, man, what's up with this guy always coming around the shop asking you for money? When he said it to me,
then he's like,
and then I started backtracking like, I think it just hit me. I still don't call home or nothing. Thinking he got to about it. He asked me for $200 to do something. And I kind of was like, I ain't got it.
his demeanor changed?
And he kind of was like, but you can get it, right? And I was like, give me a week. That was the one. Then I called back.
Oh, you said that was how you can get it, right?
Right.
But it was over that small. I guess that's how they work you up.
Yeah.
They got to feel out how much do you have, because maybe you're a bum and ain't got no money. Maybe you just all your money's in your clothes and
right.
whatever.
And then he started shooting these. He was already starting to put some feelers out. You know, I'm trying to put together this $10,000 play, and then you probably can help me out with it.
Damn.
You know, he'd already started planting some seeds for a bigger lick, right? But after the $200 thing and the you can get it, I was like, oh, okay. I know this movie. is the new kid to talk proper from Detroit that ain't got nobody around him, and he don't know that he up here with
And
the wolves.
Harlem was wild at that time.
Right, he up here with the wolves. At the time, I was dating one of the prettiest girls in Harlem, and he don't
Just
know.
I mean, that was one of
Yeah.
that 30th, 32nd precinct at that late 80s to the mid 90s was the, highest homicide precincts in the country. Like it was
the
going
Dirty
down.
30, right? They
Yeah,
made a
it was
movie
going
about
down.
it.
Yeah.
They made a movie
Very
about it.
violent in Harlem.
So I call my pop. I say, Daddy, I think this nigga up here trying to lean on me. And he's like, what you mean? I was like, I reenact what I just told you. And he was like, oh, for real? And he was like, all right. He's like, well, just keep me abreast of it. Keep me abreast. Let me think on this for a day or two. It was a concert at Grant Park. And JM is like, let's go to the concert after we close up the mark. And of course, we get there, go to the concert. He ain't got no money. You order this, I covered the thing. Now, Pop done already said, next time you with this nigga, call me. And
So y'all had cell phones.
yeah, this is now 93, 94.
Well, you're still early for cell phones, but you had a cell phone.
I had a cell phone. Yes, I had a cell phone, 93, 94. I call him, and he say, the guy there with you? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, my father want to talk to you for a minute.
Did he seem surprised?
Very,
Okay.
very. And he was like, huh? I was like, yeah, my father want to talk to you. And he talked, and then JM starts saying stuff like, oh, you, Leroy? Oh, and Jazzy too? And Mickey?
And so they were talking about the council.
So Pops is telling him, maybe I can introduce you to some of my old friends that's around there. Because I used to do a lot of business with Leroy. And now he don't even not Nicky. Leroy. Leroy and I and my man was real good friends. And I got another good friend, Jazz, who worked with Leroy. Then I got another friend out in Brooklyn, Mickey, used to work with this other guy, Frank. Maybe should I have Mickey? You want to meet Mickey?
So it was all very, on the surface, very genteel.
Yes.
Just like he was doing you, very...
He stuck to his guns for about one more day.
He had to ask around.
Right. And then he came back.
Would he have known who Mickey Beck maybe sort of...
No, I know exactly what happened. Because he went down to the people that was down at Blues. Big gangster. Ask around them. And he went to some of the other old-time Harlem people. And they was like, those was the guys. They the Nicky Bond. They the Council of Detroit. Everybody know. No, them is real guys, man. And he was basically, but he didn't give up. He's like, you think they would do something that's...
Oh, he asked somebody that. They told you that?
Yeah.
You think they would do something to me?
Yeah.
Oh, he asked somebody that?
Yeah.
Who'd he ask that? You don't remember?
I don't, it was old. Yeah.
Okay.
And they was like, there is no question, bro.
Oh, wow.
Whatever you thinking, don't do that. And back home, there was already, as options were being discussed, there were some people who wanted to just wear baseball caps and sunglasses into the mart and address the issue permanently. Other people wanted to do some things more clandestine, like invite them to Brooklyn for an evening, let them play out this little $10,000 scam.
I got the $10,000.
I got the $10,000. Come to Brooklyn and get it. Because I'm scary. I don't want to be traveling around. Money. Just come to my house and get it.
At that time, a person walking out of a building in Brooklyn getting gunned down would be just another person.
Another robbery.
Wouldn't raise no eyebrows.
None. But he came back, shook hands. Was like, no hard feelings. We never discussed it.
But it was understood.
He was like,
I was trying to lean on you.
Yeah, no hard feelings. I was like,
because he is a wolf.
Dude, and the game is the game.
Yeah, and he was a wolf. It's not that he was he
was a wolf.
People you can lean on and people you can't. Or, well, you can lean on anybody, but it's a question of is it worth it?
Well,
Repercussions.
you'll end up being the one getting leaned on.
Yeah.
Because there's a hierarchy to everything, right?
Yeah.
And you're not willing to really go to the extent.
And it's not worth it.
Right. There's another
He's
victim.
looking for some easy money.
Correct. And
Back then, there was a lot of guys getting money who did get leaned on.
all
the time.
All the time.
I mean, that was a whole business in and of itself. Well, it still is. You got it. Listen,
Yeah.
not that any of you should be involved in street activities, but when you surround yourself, or you got some guys that's known for violence, and tough guys, or this or that, and you have them around you, or you're around them to ward off other people, you need to be aware that you can't be soft. Like, you have to be able to, like, oh, he'll do something himself if need be. Or at the least, if you're just depending on your social skills, a person has to be like, oh, wow, this guy knows 8 versions of me and they all love him and I'm seeing him with different dangerous guys every day and they're friendly. Just let me leave him alone. But you can't be out here thinking because you met one killer or the gangbanger of the year, they might make you the fool.
That's why the graveyard is full, man. You can't there's some very serious violent people in this world. And
if you're just a drug dealer and you're trying to use somebody else's dangerous reputation to protect you, well, that ain't right anyways. So it's easy for them to justify, oh, you soft, but you're gonna pretend to be my buddy or take me out to lunch and pay my way at the club, and my name's supposed to keep you alive or from getting robbed. That's you kind of using me, so now I don't feel bad. I'm gonna be the one that takes what you got.
CT is in the house. He says, "What up?" and he had a question.
what up, CT? Speaking of, this man here is family. One of my father's true closest confidant. You know, him and my dad made a lot of history together. What up, though, fam?
He said why he didn't give the real scoop on Cuddy from the Loop.
Cuddy from the Loop.
The Loop, St. Louis?
I guess from St. Louis maybe.
Oh, you're talking about Cuffy Gap? She talking to me?
No, he's talking to you.
Cuddy, the only Cuddy from the Lou is Cuffy. Talk about BMS?
He must be talking to you there, because you seem to know more about it.
Yeah, Deion Cuffy Gang.
Listen, we can settle this. We're going to do some real live.
If you're still watching, I got a story up. The public doesn't want to.
Right, BMF. He said, yep, BMF.
I got Cuffy on a phone call on my channel.
Do you?
So do other people. People don't care.
You can put me on the line. I don't care what people want to say.
I know you being a good dad. What up? So who's this Cuffy you talking about, Faye?
Deion Cuffy Gatlin.
Right, because everybody, they be hiding from the story.
No, the story's up. The public just doesn't. The public don't want to hear it.
He said it just ain't popular, see?
I know you put it. I said they don't want to hear it.
No, the public don't want. Listen, man. People don't want to find out Superman ain't Superman.
You know, I was in the joint. They said that back.
2013.
Oh, so that was known.
Yeah.
Were you in the same facility as our friends in Southwest? No.
I wasn't.
In the flesh, but you know, I had my phone in there, but
No.
Yes, he did.
Everybody knows.
everybody knows about that.
Oh, really? So that's okay. Well, the general public who claims to want to know about everyone that's quote unquote a snitch or this or that, they don't want to know about this.
See,
The thing is, in the feds, third-party corporation is big time. See, the thing is that they do that all day long. I was in there. I watched mothers who had big cases, super big cases, and they let them go with the third party, or their girl was doing all the work.
Oh.
Why they got out of jail? This been going on.
So that's how people get out of jail without nobody knowing they get in jail.
Yeah, because I was telling people I've heard of, like, you put your girl on somebody or a cop, and then you trade this new person for you. You get your boyfriend out of jail in exchange for the new dope man.
Hey, listen.
I seen it. They got girls out there They got girls out there who work just for, like, they get the dope boy's telephone number to the feds, and the feds got it, and that's how they put the phone taps, and they don't even know they get got because they got sit the girl in the club and get the numbers.
They be working all type of stuff.
So I see people be worried about the guy in jail, but the truth is they need to worry about the guy outside his jail who around him.
Facts. All right, we gonna get back to it though. See, you know we love you, but again, we gonna get CT, gonna get an opportunity.
I just wanted to say that.
You know, just because I just wanted to find out, that's all.
No, that's good
I
looking.
got a story up. I got Cuffy called me from prison. I got it up on my channel.
Right.
One of my father's chief lieutenant right there. Been with us. No, it's the truth. You and the old man did a lot of.
Hey, but see, I met him long time ago.
Oh no, y'all go back forever.
But listen, I met you long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you where I met you at.
He used to be over there, Mike Nichols' house.
You talking about Al Prophet?
Oh, you met me at Mac Nichols' house?
Yeah, long time ago.
Oh, wow. You would know all them.
Oh,
Okay.
he know
Oh,
everybody.
we family then, because that's my people.
I know, I met you over at Mike Nichols' house.
Long time ago, you used to be on the porch.
Yeah, that was my home away from home.
That's a long time ago. You used to be right over there.
Yep. Rest
Yeah.
in peace, Uncle Keith. Rest in peace, Grandma Dorothy. Rest in peace, Boo.
His daddy sit on the porch watch baseball.
Yeah, he passed not too long ago.
Yeah, I know that.
Wow.
See you over there long time ago.
Yeah, I was always
You
over
ain't
there.
know you was
All right,
dealing
well,
with.
I have to see you in person. We had to meet up.
All right, fam.
All right.
All right, one. It's a small world, right?
That's funny.
That's a real guy there. That's
So
a real,
what?
real guy.
Well, real guys over at Mac Nichols. I
Yeah.
remember we were sitting at Mac Nichols, and that DEA show they had on for 1 year was on, and they got their mouth dropped open, and they was like, "We over here." So there was a guy that DEA show got. So when they filmed the DEA show, they also did the Gang Squad show with GQ, and he said one of his informants got killed.
Yeah.
That DEA show, there was a light-skinned, kind of stocky guy. He was in and out the DEA setting people up. He was like, "Yo, might as well give me a badge." And that was the guy that when the show came on, everybody over that house they talking about was like,
Wow.
"We're here."
Wow. But yeah, so when you're leaning on back to it, there's a hierarchy.
That's what Wayne Perry was known for, the best friends. I mean, a lot of these famous figures from the 80s or something that you guys
Preacher.
like hear about, Preacher, Al Poet to some extent with some people.
Yeah.
Because it's a convenient, once you're at that level, if you have a reputation as a someone who takes lives, it's always easier to just, here, just give me $60,000.
Right.
Or give me 2 bricks and no, I'm not going to pay you. And what are you going to do about it?
Well, except for there's, of course, a great many
Well, it doesn't always work.
people in the union that don't give a fuck about your
Yeah.
body count.
Yeah.
If you bring
Yeah,
that
yeah,
shit our way, everyone, as I joke and you says that,
But not that many people are in the union. A lot of people get money who aren't in the union.
yeah, because 2 to the head ain't nobody, as I tell people, as some, God is good, as someone that has had a pistol to their head before, ain't nobody tough when that thing to your head. I don't care who you is, how many you done killed.
When it's 2 years. There's one thing they got it out.
No, I'm
No,
talking
but it's
about.
right there.
I'm talking about when the iron is on your temple. No one is
And
tough,
they're not playing.
and they're not playing.
You're looking at
no
them.
one is tough. No one is a hitter. No one's reputation will save them. And the world,
Not a good feeling.
it's not a good feeling. And so people who know that if I go down that road with those individuals, I could be the one ending up with something to my temple.
Or some of my family member, all that.
Oh, nah, if they're professing you, nigga, you the one who thought it was a good idea to fuck with me.
Well, they might go into hiding or something, you know. Might have to draw them out. Like one of my neighbors in my building, Highland Park,
Yeah.
he was trying to teach me the ways of the street. He said, "Now, Al, if they go into hiding, kill their mother and go to the funeral." And that was one of the pieces of information I said, I'm kind of wild, but I don't think I'm going to have to use that information. Let me file that way in the back.
To quote,
But there's people like that.
to quote Salat,
Just so you know.
to quote Salazzo out of The Godfather, blood is very expensive and bad for business.
But sometimes it's necessary.
And I personally, murder conspiracy is a lifetime hanging over your head.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no statute of limitations, so
The ghost of Christmas past
can come up. So that's really the last resort. People should not. And people.
That's why you've never been involved in such things.
No,
You have
no,
knowledge of any.
no, and I don't know nothing about none of that shit.
That's right.
I'm a businessman. I'm just
No violence in your case.
none.
No street rumors.
None of that. None of that.
Yeah, that's a good segment. This is recording. You had him high.
That's
right?
recording.
All right, bet. So we're rolling?
You're rolling.
Okay.
What up, CRB Jr., Motown Mafia Podcast, a Big Boss Filmworks production. Special guest. I guess you're not even a guest anymore. Just our band, our peoples. American Dopes, founder and creator himself. What up, Al Prophet?
Al Prophet, that's me.
Hey, man, what's going on in these, as a term,
YouTube streets?
These YouTube streets nowadays, man.
Well, it's truly like the age of crack cocaine. And the reason I say that, so crack was noted for its brief and intense high
Yes.
that people would keep seeking out. Oh, I got a dime. Come back, go back. Right. Like a rat pushing a lever. So a lot of this content, not all, but a lot of this content where it's such and such rapper's gay, so and so snitched on such and such backdoored. It's designed to give you a quick dopamine burst or give the viewer sort of scrolling down YouTube and know, well, who snitched? Who's gay? What gang member kissed another gang member on the mouth? Oh, let me click that for those that's into that. And two of the best or most skillful practitioners of that within our probably demographic, a lot of the same people that watch us, Charleston White and Adam 22.
So what's your spin on Charleston? Shout out to Charleston White.
It's amazing. He did quite a job taking himself
From obscurity, right?
0 to 100 in 6 months. I mean, he's been pretty popping now for a year.
A year strong.
Yeah, and it probably only took him 6 months to get there.
Yeah. I mean, he built a career
He's making money. He does live performances.
He was doing a comedy tour.
Which is what he is.
Do you think he's a comedian? Or is he just funny? Or is there a difference? There is a difference, you know that. There's a lot of guys who are funny.
No, but he acts pretty over. He says and does things and creates situations that will lead to ridiculous outcomes sometimes.
What you say, Big Lou?
He does comedy shows, though.
Yes, he does actual.
Right. After he got his internet celebrity,
Yes.
he actually got booked
Sashayed over
and into the comedy world. And I think he
Well,
used...
when you create scenarios,
Right.
like if we had a crazy stripper around here and we knew we were going to talk great, and then she was going to give me a lap dance, you're creating a scenario for some buffoonery to go on. That's a skit.
What about his kind of really was the first one to be anti the pop culture celebrity
Now, we'll
work,
give him this.
celebrity worship? He won't play the celebrity work. He got famous by internet beef with Bootsy, internet
Wasn't
beef with...
internet beef. He went down to Texas. He was on that. When I said, damn, is he that brave or he just smart enough to know to call the bluff? He was on some show in Texas, and they had a couple of the triple OG gangbangers who make the rounds of being on the talk shows, and they actually got up and, you got a gun, here's my gun. They got kind of like Mob James. I think him and Ayatollah Marv got into it, Melvin Farmer. But I guess his feeling is, listen, I have a gun on me, and I'll call the police. And he knew that combination of things is pretty much, as far as talking, like, if he were to assault somebody, maybe they wouldn't care that he has a gun or he'll call the police. But as far as just talking, even a rough guy is like, man, you got a gun and you will call the police on me. They didn't do anything.
Well,
because he talked crazy to some
I
people
think
in person.
he exposes, as tough as y'all say y'all is, when I threaten to call them white folks on y'all all get good sense real quick. Real quick. Because that was his default
There's
thing.
black police too, of course.
To quote Bootsy,
Especially in the South.
Bootsy said the reason he stopped going back.
There's no T.
Bootsy.
Boosie bad.
Who I like, Bootsy Badass, who I like too. I mean, not his music, but I
He's got a good
He's
on-air personality.
yeah, and he's a good down south guy, and I'm amazed by how popular he is. I mean, I don't follow that
Could
guy.
have never predicted. Well, that's the
But he says-
thing about that these guys talking about, like Boosie going Vlad and just talk about it, like things that he nor Vlad have any particular knowledge of, just a pop culture event, and it'll get hundreds of thousands of views. I guess they make for like a frickin' frack kind of
He
tandem.
say his grandmama said, "Leave that boy Charleston alone, because you're going to end up going to jail messing with him."
She was right.
And he has now morphed into his own now. I've seen him on the Cam Newton podcast.
He's like
I've seen him on Charleston's got 85 South. He's kind of a voice of. He does commentary on our culture, of which he's very critical of.
what's kind of, I guess it's the fact that the things that he says that are supposed to be wise,
Yes.
gangs are bad, you shouldn't be
Guns are
you
dangerous.
shouldn't be a prostitute who has 2 babies before you're 18.
Yeah.
And people say, well, he says a lot of true stuff. Yeah, but it shows you that there's a segment of the population that if hearing someone just say, well, theoretically, gangs are bad, we shouldn't worship a guy because he did 20 years for a gang murder, that's, oh, wow, I never thought of that. The fact that there's a segment of the population who's never even heard an adult say that to them shows you how cut off. I mean, I don't know how many people there are living like that, 5, 10 million, but there's a few million people who never heard anyone say that at least theoretically you shouldn't be in a gang.
And that gang violence is good, and that's not a good way to architect your life. And I think what you expose when you say that, because I deal in a bunch of different worlds, right? With a bunch of
All
different,
legal.
all legal. I ain't broke the law in 20 years, man. Like a long time ago. They don't even know who Charleston White is. But there's another world I live in where everybody knows who Charleston White is. The world that don't know where he is, those are people who never think about being in gangs or want to be around anybody.
I have a whole set of friends. They don't even watch what I once in a while. They're like, "Oh, I saw one of your things." Yeah. But the idea of talking about crime, but see, they don't come from they don't know that for about 10% of the U.S. population,
Maybe larger.
crime, not necessarily that 10% of people are serious criminals, obviously not, but that the Gangster Disciples or Demetrius Holloway has impacted their life,
Or somebody like that.
negative or positive, but that's a real, just like the the postal carrier bringing your mail every day is an important part of the infrastructure of your life. The fact that you live in a neighborhood where some blood set is a part of the infrastructure of your life. So it's interesting and important for you to hear about it.
You know what? I'm gonna tell those.
They don't know that. There's a lot of
You know what
people
they
that
do
their
know?
stuff
I'm like,
impacts their life.
what I need to phrase it to them is that's the same reason why you're so interested, though, in stories about Bigfoot, Eddie Wingate, or some of the other policy kings, right? Because those people impacted you and your family back in the 30s and 40s.
Or white people who are very suburban but want to hear about
the Purple Gang.
mafia or something, because it's so far in the past that it's kind of like, it's like cowboys and Indians.
Correct.
It's violence and they know it was real, but it's so disconnected from them. It's like watching Arnold Schwarzenegger play the Terminator. Yeah, it's violence, but it's not real. But for those of us that grew up in environments where violence was real, or gangs, or big drug,
The hierarchy.
IBI was on your block, Well, it's something to talk about and figure
No,
out.
it's a part of its history.
And it's a
It is
social phenomenon that continues to impact people.
Well, I think
It
so.
has a meaning.
I think so. So I get it. I was just trying to suggest going down that road with Charleston. That and again, I like the guy. You know, I think he uses overstatement to hype some things up. But when he says stuff like "don't join a gang," that's probably solid advice, right? When he says young ladies don't have a whole bunch of babies by a whole bunch of different men, that's probably sound advice to give you some options.
But I'm just saying that's wild that when people say, yeah, I don't like a lot of what Charleston says, but he says some true stuff. The true things he says are so basic.
That's what
It's disturbing
that's
that
news.
it sounds like that's the first time you ever heard that.
That's that part.
Because when I was growing up, maybe all the people my parents and my friends' parents' age might have been half and half dope fiends, but the grandparents at least were looking at us like, we know about the clown shit you're doing outside and you keep it outside.
Yeah.
But now, someone who's 20 is doing lines at the kitchen table with their mother.
Yeah, or
That goes on now. Or
Yeah.
like you said when you're at the clothing store, you had the
Grandma.
17-year-old daughter, her 34-year-old mother, and the 51-year-old grandmother buying the same outfit to chase the same man.
correct, and that's when I knew
That's kind of a newish,
that's a
Why?
post-millennium
yeah.
scenario in our community.
Well, when you say our community, you don't mean the black community, you mean these certain neighborhoods,
Hood, right?
of which there's not actually that many. Which brings me to a point I want to say. It's very irresponsible, untrue, and it bothers me of hearing people refer to this street jail dope house culture as, oh, it's the culture or black culture. It's not black culture.
It is not.
A small amount of Americans, and including a small amount of black people, are engaged in how I just got out of prison, now I'm hanging in front of a liquor store asking you where you from.
That's black.
There's not
Correct.
that many people
Correct.
that actually live like that. But because they're so compelling on camera, and because so much they're the entertainment. See, a lot of these people think they're entertainers, but really they're the entertainment. Like, oh, you're a clown, we just watching you, and oh, now you get, oh, we just were watching you talk crazy, and now you're dead. Ha ha ha. They're laughing at you, not with you.
There's a lot of people, though, if you watch quote-unquote black YouTube, you would think that 90%
yeah.
of the black community
Is living like that.
is, and that all black young girls want to grow up to be
Most
Sukihana.
black people don't even know
Who
that
they are.
content even exists.
Correct.
Much less are living like that in real life.
Correct. And it is null and void that there is such things as a black middle class, that there are black elite organized crime people, that there are
Our
black...
show, we watch the Glenn show, Glenn Lowry and
Shout out to Glenn Lowry.
John McWhorter.
Holla at your
They
man,
don't know
Glenn.
Crip Mac exists. Nor should they.
No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. Even though on that, to show the wideness of our scope of following, Glenn Lowry is a black conservative columnist.
The Glenn Show. Go
The
watch
Glenn
it.
Show. Economist. He's got
Prominent
a book out.
I got a few books.
He's got his latest one is Confessions of a Black
So
Conservative.
if Thomas Sowell's a bit much for you, Glenn Lowry's a less
Harsh.
conservative.
Yeah,
He's a little more normal. of a
Tom
guy.
Sowell might have you in a state of depression if you ain't open-minded to this.
Well, he's very old-fashioned too, because he's always 90.
He's 90. That's Dr.
Grew up in
Thomas
a
Sowell.
totally different world.
Even though you know what?
Glenn Lowry's
And-
70, but
and
that's
75.
That's one generation younger.
But in defense, and was what I did get
I'm
some.
not saying Sowell's
No,
bad.
no.
I'm just, he's pretty.
Do you know I was seeing for a minute a lot of some, not a lot, but quite 10, 20 different black content creators were starting to take, who obviously this man Thomas Sowell was completely new to them. I was like, yo, this man is spitting some stuff.
They
And
don't want to hear it all. They want to cherry pick what they hear from him.
Yes.
And Thomas Sowell has some issues. His book, like from
he's got a big brain though.
academic perspective, some of his books are a bit for someone who was once upon a time a serious economist. Well, he's written books that have sold a lot of copies. He's gotten away from what we would call economics based on numbers and he's getting into a lot of personal opinions. He's getting into, for example, if you're in a real economics class, someone starts trying to talk about the road to serfdom and those people, the Austrian school of economics.
But he's like Stanford, Columbia,
No, I
pedigree.
know.
Yeah.
But that's when you stick to the numbers. You try to raise your hand in real economics graduate school class.
Which you have a master's
the
in
Austrian
economics.
School of Economics. They say, oh, it's not economics, that's philosophy. We don't discuss that here.
Right. But for the audience, for those who want to hear some different stuff again, because I think it's important.
But Thomas Sowell is someone to acquaint yourself with, and Glenn Lowry, and him and John McWhorter,
Yeah.
have a. Did McWhorter write?
He teaches
like
at
us?
Columbia. Huh?
Did he write people like us?
He may have. Great book about the black bourgeois, the black elite.
And they do it city by city. Detroit's chapter is very
There's
short.
one called The Black Elite, and there's another one called People Like Us. But the reason why they say that the black elite in Detroit were so elitist,
But there weren't that many of them.
they got the least participation. In a smaller town, but Chicago. But there's a long, rich history of the black bourgeois in
It's
Detroit.
not as big here, though.
Correct.
Because you had a lot more. You had so many well-off work. You had rich blue-collar. You had a lot
Yeah.
of blue-collar workers here. They were making a.
More than the quote-unquote.
When you have a boat and a cabin up north, and
Yeah.
a newly built ranch house,
Yes. And RV. Because you work at the plant at skilled trades.
very few people that didn't own a business or have a college degree
Were
had
living
the material
material.
items, at least, that 100,000 auto workers had,
Yeah,
or hundreds of thousands. of auto
Facts, which definitely made Detroit a
A
different.
lot of those black elite didn't have a cabin up north and a boat. Whereas if you were skilled trades foreman at GM in 1979, you might have had both of those things.
As someone who got introduced to that crowd relatively late, once I got out to private high school, right? So grew up in the Southfield, which was predominantly Jewish, right? When I started hanging around Palmer Woods and Sherwood Forest and these enclaves of the quote-unquote black elite, to be honest, the first thing I said was, y'all ain't got no money.
Yeah, but comparing it to what?
I was comparing it to
your
Eddie
particular
Jackson,
situation.
Courtney Brown, guys, tier one guys that I'd grown up seeing in the kind of wealth. And I was like, and your mom works. And when Daddy was getting money, Mom's job was to go shopping and travel. Mom didn't have time for it.
It wasn't a dual income household.
It was not it was very patriarchal. Daddy worked, Mom raised the
Ran the
kids, and right. And there was no suffering in lifestyle because Mom didn't have a job. So, and again, and my friends who had two parents at the plant, they were living just as good as anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they were working hard.
they were definitely working harder
The elites.
than the elites, which is again, that's when Daddy bought the Cotillion Club.
Do you ever watch Adam 22 No Jumper?
To be honest, I started following him. I didn't know. I saw him. He was on a show called Math Hoffa, Math Hoffa's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw Math Hoffa, and I was like, who's this guy? This Adam guy?
Oh, you didn't even know.
I didn't even know who he was.
I mean, you ain't missing.
And
I'm not even saying nothing bad about it. It just
I just didn't
kind of very mid level.
I didn't understand. I started checking him out, and I saw he had a relatively big
He
following.
does, but it's not that. It just isn't. It's not ignorant enough to be ignorant. It's definitely not street enough to be street, and it's definitely not sophisticated. It's very. But that probably.
Now, he used to be a porn star, or he worked in the porn business.
No, him and his wife are. That's the bulk of their.
So is that where his following came from? Their
money? Well, it came from all of it, but no, he has a whole separate porn. He was doing pregnancy porn with his wife. At one time, his wife was the #1 search PRN in Mexico. So they're PRN people. They do that professionally.
Oh, that's what I'm like. Oh, sorry, guys. I was like, is that an acronym? No, that's a word.
They say corn.
Do a little editing.
Corn. Well, it's late in the video. It might be fine. Corn.
They were corn stars, and now not that there's anything wrong.
It's a freak show.
But because then the next thing I know, the news on the internet was he was getting a lot of attention because I guess his wife had did a video
Well, they
having sex
specifically-
with a
listen,
black.
because from No Jumper he has a predominantly black audience. So that was the perfect. So as everyone could talk, oh, you let a black man fun your wife. They planned, like, they made a lot of money off.
Because I was like, so
If you're doing
if
porn,
she's a porn star, why is that a big deal that she has sex with a black guy? Now that
that's
why is
the
it a big deal that anybody has sex with a
the
black guy?
marketing. It's the, well, that's a big, listen, in the porn world, that's a whole genre. That's the whole degradation, or I know some of his black viewers are like, yeah, black guy funked your wife.
That's
That's the whole marketing thing, and it worked for them. It was all the
Wait a minute. It's a BB something. I'm old, y'all. I do.
I don't want to go into porn terminology.
But anyway, anyway.
But yeah, so very smart operator. He takes some very mid-level kind of content and makes some money out of it. But you know, see, after they hit a lick with the interracial corn thing, but then he tried to do something about 2 months ago where people caught him walking down the street with a well-known male corn star, as if to him, and then they took some photos, but no one fell for it. It was like, oh, we know your game. Like, you're gonna pretend to, they caught Courtney and Al being GAY. Let's watch some more of their videos. But once you've pulled that trick, and I know you're tricking me.
Well, my
when you base your popularity on shock value,
that's my concern.
It goes away.
Well, the thing too, though, in this society we live with,
like Adam had a set of black content creators that were on the show that I guess were in gangs, and then he fired all them, and he got a different set of people from a similar demographic. And shout out to them, Brick Baby, they're doing their thing and building their stuff up, but they created like kind of a drama between them. Now, was it real? Was it fake? Probably a little bit of both. But they're all. But I will go back to this. If you're somebody from not the greatest background, or you got a felony or something, even if I don't like the content, I'd much rather you talk about stuff on a YouTube channel that I may not find interesting or I might think is goofy. Better you make money doing that than some of your other options in the world of crime. So, and if there's millions of Americans that choose to watch it, hey, that's between the content creators and them. And it surprises me that there's people that find a lot of that stuff interesting, but that's a different question. That's more so about the audience. Remember, the performer, the content creator, is not creating the audience's interests and desires. He's responding to them.
Wait a minute.
I don't think he's facilitating them. People like that stuff. I would have never thought some of this stuff would be that interesting or popular. It is. That's the business. Listen, I don't eat Burger King or McDonald's. It tastes like food out of a garbage can, but millions of Americans like it.
Wait a minute. I got a very big strike zone on what I think is appropriate to make money, which means basically if you ain't hurting no babies or no old people, I don't care how you get your money.
I may not find it entertaining, but it's certainly
grown people
on the list of bad things in America.
No, Adam 22.
Adam 22.
And I wouldn't, in defense to Charleston White, I would not put Charleston White in what Adam 22.
Well, he does. You may not have watched enough because he does a lot of the podcasts will go on. They set up a goofy scenario. They'll have some goofball person and they do something goofy. There's a lot of Charleston White guys.
The problem with shock value
is it
content
shock?
Is that you have to ante up the level of the shock. So next thing, in 10 years, are we going to have the midget having sex with the puppy dog on YouTube?
Well, look what's happening in the real
Because that'll be where we're at with it.
No, we've gone from rappers would talk about, like, you would reference, as he mentioned, what's the Supreme Team? Now I said something about the Supreme Team. We went from that to, well, I used to be in a Supreme Team and now I rap. Then it became, now you have, if you're going to talk about some street stuff in your rap, people going to look into it like, oh, does he really slide? Is he really in a gang? If you're not really in a gang, I don't want to listen to your rap. And then now
that's a whole different show.
Now they make money, and the FGB and all them people, like, well, they're really killing each other
Okay,
I'm not-
so explain this to me.
incidents, It raises all your streaming.
Explain this to me, Al.
If me and you
But
came
no,
out
really,
here
for
right
real.
now and talked
'Cause
crazy
I'm
about
confused.
somebody,
I'm confused.
and then one of us popped up dead, all of our views on our channel would go
I
up.
need you to really help me with this. I grew up, or when I was coming up, Tribe Called Quest, great music. Five Dog, Q-Tip,
Rest in peace.
Black Sheep, De La Soul. There were these are four founders of this thing called hip hop. No one cared that these guys were not shooting and killing
Well,
people.
they had talent, but see now, like you.
Why do I have to be almost?
Because you just made the point.
Yeah.
When you're basing what you're doing on shock value, what was shocking for 6 months now has become mundane. I listen to y'all talk about, okay, you're not capable of making an album like Midnight Marauders in the first place.
Okay.
So now you're okay, but you need to spice it up with up for the projects, let's sell crack and shoot people. Okay, that's exciting for a while. But now I need to know, like, oh no, they got just beat a murder case and he's rapping about selling drugs and being a friend. He really is from O Block, and O Block's infamous. So now that's you're ratcheting.
Who O Block
up.
infamous too?
People that listen to
Well, you got
music.
you got two other factors.
I mean, that's bad. I'm for real, and I'm not even trying to be old-fashioned. Every place where poverty is endemic is a
Most
tough place.
people are not that many people in America are from them type of neighborhoods.
And that's where the fascination
Even though
comes.
you would, like we said, if you're not around a wide swath of black people in real life and you're getting all your information from this garbage can portion of American culture, you could think, oh, black people all live in the I guess you wouldn't know. But in reality, as we know, a small amount of people live in actual hardcore neighborhoods.
Yes, yeah. And even in those hardcore neighborhoods,
Most of them people just victims.
there's no criteria that you're some super
Just because
pathological
all
killer.
it means is your mother is low income.
That's all it means.
That's what it means for sure.
And
Now-
that you probably around a bunch of stupid people that shoot people for no
Yeah,
reason.
now you might be tough. Not saying you're not, but you might not be.
Ain't none of these kids tough when they got that thing to their head. They clip shooting 1,000 people from 1,000 feet away. Is not exactly my definition of tough.
It is dangerous.
No.
Like I said,
You're a nuisance. If you really this switch thing, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get on a what they call a
Tangent.
soapbox.
so.
Gentlemen, if you too scared to settle your beef in a way where you got to kill up 10% of your community because you're using some kind of semi-automatic, fully automatic weapon and you give not a damn who you kill, you're not a gangster, you're not tough. There's a word I need you to go talk to the white social worker at your school that you dropped out of.
they don't have no social.
You
work.
are
Every
what is
school, they
known.
canceled the
You
social
are
work.
what is known as a
counselor.
sociopath, and you are disturbed. Your actions don't insinuate that you have any form of cool or toughness. One of my OGs that raised me, Eddie, used to say, you the type of nigga that I worry about shooting me in the back, because you ain't gonna come at nobody. So that's why you have to be a half football field away and then shoot up your baby, the mama, the girlfriend, the baby mama. You done killed everybody but the nigga you was shooting at. And for our community to continue to say it's okay. And you know why I ain't worried about saying this shit? Because if you knock on this door on 7 Mile, my shit go through the door. I'm just going, no, that went too far. I take that back. YouTube, I did not. I'm joking. But really,
Your penetrating gaze goes through the door.
Yes. It's not cool though, man. It's not cool to shoot up parties. And I understand, and I understand why all of it happens. But when the shit gets to the point where we're monetizing it on YouTube,
Well, no, that's
different. Why it happens and should have happened, I'll even say that's up to debate. But when it becomes a monetizable
this?
thing on YouTube,
How about this? When you upload a video to
enough's
YouTube,
enough. Enough's
you
enough.
read the criteria for monetization.
Mm-hmm.
Drug use and guns will so if I'm doing a documentary about the evil mafia,
The evil
I
mafia.
saw a pile of heroin and I saw a guy with a gun, Vito Genovese, a known hitman, whatever, I'm probably not going to get it monetized. But the rules for music is different. In a music video, all them kids with them guns and they smoking the weed, that's monetized. It's a different set of rules for music videos.
So,
In the only genre of music where they're showing guns and blatant drug use is the rap genre. So there's this asterisk of this behavior we're going to tolerate and not tolerate, and we only tolerate pretty much young black males showing guns and drug abuse. We'll pay them for that, but if another group does it, we take their monetization.
didn't you say there was a video where they had people in prison that were like being beat up and it was obvious that the inmates.
Cavario did an amazing. They had that contract with that lead prison in South Carolina where there had been a riot where 9 people lost their lives. They were brought in to consult and help reorganize the prison. They brought the violence way down. So I was in Atlanta and Cavario was working there at the time at the prison. And it was like a 2-hour drive. I was going to go. Cavario had it set up and come in the prison interview. And I was looking, I said, I was just on YouTube looking up some videos about the riot or to see was there something on there. And there was some footage from that prison and during that riot posted from a cell phone that one of the inmates had. And like the GDs either had the Bloods tied up or the Bloods had the GDs tied up. So they're in a prison cell and there's like 3 guys with their hands tied behind their back. And the rival gang is looming over them with knives. Bitch.
You saw it?
Say, fuck the Bloods and we gonna saw your head off. Like, stay it in the camp. You know, and it gave me such an anxiety. It's just seeing this happen. It was so awful. I told Cavario, I said, I got a panic attack thinking about walking in that prison. And nobody had complained.
So, right, because you were saying that if people complained that they would have...
YouTube will let you upload it. Well, it probably catches corn, but it's not... If your video, my video got taken down, it's because people complained. So I remember when I was first got monetized...
So no one complained about this prison thing, obviously.
So I think that the certain portion of population has been that whole no snitching. So that even goes as far as something inappropriate, black people stabbing each other in a
that a 10-year-old can look up on his phone
on YouTube.
Right.
I'm not gonna complain about that because all that snitching. But when I put up a long time ago on my YouTube, first got monetized a long time, like 08 or 09, and I was trying to figure out what to put up, blah blah blah, and I was doing like some world star hip hop. I was downloading from somewhere else and changing and uploading. I was starting to get going. And the very first thing I had go viral, never forget, I've been putting up fights and violent stuff, but it was urban. And I put up these 2 white girls fighting. And I put a title, White Trash Girls Fight, or whatever I put. And it went viral. And I got a community guideline strike and demonetized the whole channel. Because someone or multiple people complained. And it was interesting. That was the first video I put up that was like probably 2 white people, and I used white trash in the title, and people got that off of there.
Out of there.
And it's not YouTube
No, it's
being racist because there is no rules. There's so many videos up. It's not some group of people on YouTube making rules. It's what you complain about.
So all I want to know in the comment section is,
you don't want on YouTube complain about
why is there a segment in the community that nobody finds it not appropriate that there's a prison where people are doing time and are being terrorized, that nobody called the congressmen or citizens
or just click the flag inappropriate content button on YouTube.
But to let is the value for life that low now? I mean, it says a lot, fam, about what really.
I mean, that was a horror. That was like watching an ISIS video.
Yeah, that's what that sounded like.
It was very
like some type of terrorist.
It was very disturbing.
Some type
of terror. I felt bad for all parties, and I'm sure those guys had the knives. If the other guys the roles could have been reversed, and they
It
would
might have been going down like
so
that.
it's not that thing. One side's better than other. It's just such a bad environment with no law. So law enforcement is taking these people off the streets and deemed we gonna punish you, put you in prison for 20 years. Okay, but the prison is so non-controlled by the state that this type of thing can go on. The state loses its moral authority to incarcerate people.
Not to mention, supposedly,
And what if
we
you-
have laws against cruel or unusual punishment.
And what's-
Doing that kind of time, is that not cruel and unusual punishment?
Listen, man, doing 90 days in a soft county jail is mildly, like, disturbing to your spirit. I can't imagine. Those guys talk about PTSD
Yeah, and then we letting them back out into our community.
and wonder why
And
they're
then wonder-
recidivist.
Yeah, or wonder why things and people are getting touched and youth. All of it's connected.
Absolutely.
All of it is connected. Them gentlemen one day gonna be back out here among us. And if them kind of things happen to them in there, there's consequences for people.
There's a lot of
It's
videos on YouTube of prison stabbings.
Wow. I'm glad I
They looking through the door. Oh, the Mexicans getting somebody, and there's 8 people jabbing
just
somebody up in this.
poking somebody. Wow. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm old. So forgive my tyrants. I know
Well, no,
I'm from a different era.
Listen,
I'm from a different era.
as we know, as any student of world history, I gotta do. Things get better, things get worse. Like just because it's going on, just because this is now, you can't say, oh, that's just how it is, and things don't all get better. Sometimes things go backwards.
This is surely the
And all this technology that's supposed to be saving us and making our life better,
No.
can't even bring we got all these cameras, and the murder rate went up in the pandemic.
I am not one that believes that things necessarily have to get better.
No,
There's no.
they don't. And
there's-
technology
there's
doesn't
no,
make
there's no
them
proof
get
of that,
better
right?
either.
So this.
You would think there should be no more stolen cars. You mean they don't have technology to stop people from stealing cars? But I guess they do, but the criminals can get some new technology.
Well, no.
So it's just an arms race.
You
would think, how are they still stealing cars?
Dude, you just did that thing on that guy, the young man, R.I.P. Fulio, who got no longer living. The people they caught, they had on tape doing it. So if
Their phones are in their pockets.
if the technology, that can't help a person who's.
But a lot of people a lot of times there's a lot of cameras that don't work. They ain't got no tape.
Like at Jeff Epstein's cell.
Yeah, because there's people, the kind of people that are out committing the most serious crimes, they probably know, they may have done something in front of a camera before and nothing ever happened.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Or those that own businesses might not be like, oh, that kid, no one's watching, that camera ain't got nothing there. Because thing about technology is it degrades. So that's why your customer service is getting worse.
Or lack thereof.
Because these when they build the computer system where you press one for this, it works when it's new, but it slowly degrades over time, and there's no mechanism for programmers to keep updating and repairing it. This is way off the top of what we were talking about, but like Facebook's back infrastructure is so messed up that I like to boost some of my posts on Facebook. So like I owe them right now $300 or $400. Can't pay them. I hit a credit card, won't accept. Another credit card, PayPal, won't connect it. I can't.
This is obviously a state-of-the-art company.
I can't-
Meta's about as
They're in
cutting edge as they're supposed to.
infrastructure there. It's probably so much code, so much conflict. There's no. Even me that owes them $400, and there's no, hey, I owe you $400.
Can I pay
How
you?
can I pay you? There's no mechanism for that.
So
It's gotten worse.
technology maybe not be the savior that we
It's-
think it
Of
is.
course it's not. Not on its own. Technology is a tool, just like a knife. Nobody expects a knife to stand up and chop the carrots.
Facts. Good analogy.
The phones got smarter and the people got dumber.
Double facts.
Oh, and then they're
Double
giving you
fact.
features that don't even work. These AI features, half of them don't even work, or there's stuff you don't even want.
Wow. Well, All right, Lou, got anything?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to plug KarenKnocksOutCancer.com.
KarenKnocksOutCancer.com, Lou's mom's book.
Just released the book. And if you need me,
Cop It Like It's Hot.
Copy Like It's a great book. Again, just a story of the indomitable human spirit. His mom, 6-time cancer survivor, 6-time winner. Did it without radiation or chemo. Like Frank Sinatra, she really did it her way. If you ever question being your own advocate, when you're being the advocate for yourself, when it is understanding that it's your life, and you'll be the one having to live with the decisions. I think it's a great personal story, but it's a story about life, that you end up being the author of your life. You live with the decisions you make. Brother KK, August 3rd, down the projects, right?
yes, Saturday.
This Saturday, August 3rd, Projects legend, the brother of the big homie KK, is putting on a basketball tournament. And they're going to, as they always do down there, they give some laurels and awards to people from the projects who've gone on.
No switches allowed.
No switches allowed.
And we will be checking. Enforcement will be in full effect.
You know them guys on the Brewster, they was doing what they was doing without switches. They not friendly like that. That's not a good place
If
to.
you do go,
It's a
don't be
family.
friendly,
Yes.
Don't be friendly to you.
Yeah, it's a
but
very
don't
family.
Be friendly.
Don't not be
'Cause
friendly.
They can be very
Unfriendly.
Shout out to the Brewster Project.
Shout out to
That's
the.
who-
You know, and on that note, and you go maybe this. Every time there's a Brewster reunion and Lou's come down there, the Brewster reunion or Brewster time, it is the most best vibe.
Always the best.
And we always kind of joke because, but that ain't where you want to go and disrupt things. That's not good. But KK does a first class job there. Definitely a family vibe. Come support. See some old guys who still can make a jump shot go in. See some people from the old neighborhood who've gone on to do some great things, get their roses. So, and I believe that starts at 1 p.m. this Saturday, August 3rd. I believe it's right there at the intersection of I-75 and Mac. Is
Oh, is it about like Spain?
yeah, right there, because that's
Spain
where
Middle School.
exactly. We'll have the information in our descriptions. We're gonna go down there and definitely
Near the
support the
Detroit
home.
Medical Center.
And sure got to give his book a plug. If These Bricks Could Talk.
Brick Life 236.
Is that the name? That's how you get in touch with him?
Alexander K. Noel.
Alexander
Put the
K.
link in
No.
bio.
Shout out to the big homie again, KK. Appreciate the support. And we definitely will be there
Big
to
Boss
support you.
Filmworks. American Dope.
Beyond Street Dreams.
You know the rest.
There it is. Holla at your man.
From the makers of Motown Mafia, beyond the headlines, beyond the crime, beyond the glamours and gold, they don't run around the streets. They run the streets. Beyond Street Dreams. Documentary coming soon to Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto TV.